Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first on the agenda, we need a motion to recess our regular meeting to go into our budget hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is carried. Okay, welcome everybody to our budget hearing. I'll turn this over to Dr. McDonald and Meg Hungerford to go through our presentation.
And I will turn it over directly to Mrs. Hungerford with the one comment that the New York State budget, we still do not have any details, which puts schools kind of in a little bit of an interesting predicament, but hopefully they'll be coming soon.
Okay. One thing we'll do first is that I'll ask for a motion to dispense with the reading of the annual meeting notice. That notice is available as an attachment on board docs as well as our website budget page and can be obtained from the district clerk.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Now we're up to our budget presentation. Thank you.
Okay. I have information to present on the budget that will be presented to the voters later this month on May 20th for vote. Just a quick overview of the budget that's being presented. It includes revenues of $24,290,170 and projected expenditures of $26,028,866. That leaves a difference of $1,738,696, which we are planning to use appropriated fund balance as needed to fill that difference. It represents a 3.95% overall budget increase from this year's budget. There is a 3% increase in projected revenues and a 3.5% increase in the tax levy. This just shows in a pie chart how our revenues are broken up. Most of our revenues are state aid, which is approximately 66% of our district budget. Local revenues make up 34%. That's primarily property taxes. There are some other things in there like interest earnings. We have a small amount that comes from the federal government, not even enough to make up 1% in terms of Medicaid reimbursements. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the term the tax cap. This slide shows how our tax cap calculation works for the proposed budget. When you go through the various items that are incorporated in the tax cap calculation, it shows that our tax levy limit to stay within the cap for next year is a levy of $7,652,394. We are proposing a budget with a levy of $7,745,000, which exceeds the cap by $92,000. The amount of the levy increase that would be allowable under the tax cap would be 2.26%, and this is 3.5%. This chart shows the estimated dollar value impact for various assessed values of the increase in the levy. So the first row shows what some various property values and what the current year tax bill would be and what it would be under the proposed budget and how much of an increase that would be. This is a difficult slide because I think most of you are familiar with the fact that the town of Walton is undergoing a reevaluation, so it's very difficult to say exactly how a particular property will be impacted, and we won't have that new assessment information until we get the tax bills later this summer. So this is an estimate based on the information we do have.
And Meg, this will only be relevant for the town of Walton, right?
Correct. This is based on information for the town of Walton, which is where most of our taxpayers are, but certainly not all of them. Correct. This chart shows a comparison of New York State aid that was budgeted for this year as opposed to what's in the projected budget for next year. Overall, there's a 2.26% increase overall in the aid and about 3.36% in foundation aid. And as you know, Dr. McDonald had mentioned, the New York State budget is not passed yet, and these are based on the executive budget proposals. This slide shows enrollment trends within the district over the last number of years. As you can see, we've had a slow and steady decline in our enrollment, and that affects our budget because various aid calculations are based on what our enrollment numbers are, from foundation aid to textbook aid. The number of students we have enrolled is a factor in each of those calculations. So as we see aid declining, as we see enrollment declining, we also see our aid declining. This slide looks at the expenditures within the budget and breaks it down into various categories. Consistent with prior years, salaries and benefits makes up almost 70% of our district budget, followed by equipment and contractual and supplies. So that's all of our school supplies, athletic supplies, as well as things like diesel fuel for the budget, buses, electricity, all those sorts of things. This is a similar slide that looks at expenditures, but it breaks it down by function. So is it instructional, or is it related to transportation, or is it just a general support of the district? So the bulk of our expenditures go towards transportation, instruction just shy of 50%. Transportation is about 6% of the other categories. Employee benefits is about 30%. This slide shows in the black revenues from last year as compared to this year's budget, and then the proposed budget for next year. Similarly, expenditures. You see that revenues stay relatively consistent. We have a slight increase, and expenditures are increasing at a higher rate. The orange columns get taller a little bit faster. The green line reflects the impact on our fund balance. You'll see if indeed the budget's actual results were the same as the budget, our fund balance would decrease accordingly. One of the things that we look at to get an idea of how we're doing fiscally is the fiscal stress scores that's established each year by the State Comptroller's Office. They have a formula that they put the information that we report each year through to determine whether or not they think that you're susceptible, heading towards, or in fiscal stress. The district has been in the position for the last several years to have scores of 0, which means we're not subject to fiscal stress. The sheet that they give allows us to put in information about where we project we'll end this year and project we'll end next year to see what that does to our fiscal stress score. So this example puts in a projected deficit of $377,000, which was our projection as of the end of March. And then for next fiscal year, I used the figure of $1 million. So you can see if we start down a trend of our expenditures exceeding our revenues, we start to move into areas of fiscal stress. And this is just the second part of that slide that shows if you have a score up to 24.9, you're not considered, you don't get designated. 25 to 44.5, you're susceptible. And moving up, if your score is above 65, you're considered in significant fiscal stress. So the district is in a good spot. We have good fiscal stress scores, but what this tells us is if the actual results come out like the projections, we will be starting to head towards fiscal stress. And that's something that we need to be aware of and take into account in future budgets. This slide looks at our fund balance. As of the end of last fiscal year, our fund balance was, our unassigned fund balance was about slightly over 10% of our annual appropriations. This projects, based on where we think we'll end this year and the amount that's appropriated to next year, that unassigned fund balance would now be about 6.6, 6.7% of the budget. Some key points in the budget, I mentioned some of these, but overall the budget is increasing 3.95%. There's a 3.5% tax levy increase included, which exceeds a cap of 2.26%. Requires about $1.7 million of appropriated fund balance to balance the revenue sources with the appropriations. The state aid is based on the executive budget. We'll have more firm numbers when the state budget is adopted, but crossing my fingers that they're pretty close. We're including a capital outlay project again in next year's budget, and the proposed budget also assumes that we're completing this year's capital outlay project by June 30th so that we can get the aid that we would get back next year. The budget includes a 15% increase in health insurance premiums. Actual numbers are coming in closer to 17%, and we're working on some things to try and mitigate that ways that we can. We're continuing the funding that was started this year for the school resource officer, and the budget also includes some technology improvements for next year. As I mentioned, the budget vote is May 20th at the bus garage. New this year, the polls will be ending at 8 instead of 9, so if you were one of the late voters, be sure to get there by 8. And in addition to the proposition to vote on the budget, there is also separate propositions for the purchase of, one for the purchase of 3 new buses. This will be to replace buses that we have expiring on a current 5-year lease, so those buses will have to be returned, and we'll need 3 new ones to replace those, as well as the proposed library budget and seats for the 3 seats for the Board of Education. Questions?
We should clarify 3 new diesel buses.
Yes, there are 3 new diesel buses. Same size and capacity as the ones that we are returning. I believe this was added to the website or will be shortly, so.
If not already, then tomorrow.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
I would ask at this time if we have any public comment on the budget hearing? Seeing none? Okay. I would entertain a motion to return to the regular meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
I'm sorry, I have a delay, so
Yep.
it's just taking me a moment.
No problem.
Here we are.
Okay. First, we have the approval of the April 22nd regular meeting minutes as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Next, we have the approval of the CSE, CPSE recommendations.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Those are approved.
I'm still waiting.
Technology today, I told you. Just something with the weather must be.
Maybe I should use my paper copy.
This is why I appreciate Corey making me a paper copy.
So who made that motion again?
I did.
And Tammy? Yes. Thank you.
It's okay. We'll give it a break here in a second.
Okay.
Next, we're up to public comment for general session. Seeing none, I am happy to move to new faculty introduction.
So I will introduce Mackenzie Arnott, who's here to introduce her mentee
Yes.
for the year. So go ahead.
Do you want me to stand up?
No, you can,
Oh,
you're fine.
okay. All right, so yes, you introduced me. So this is Kim Huntress. She is a 2017 graduate of Walton, as many of you may know. She currently lives in Walton and enjoys hiking and watching sports. And we are so lucky to have her. She's already made a great impression on so many students and staff that have come to me and I've been talking with. So super excited, and I'm really glad I get to help this year.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I just want to say thank you guys for giving me the opportunity, and I couldn't be more grateful to do something that I love and work with my colleagues who were once my school teachers, and everybody's just been over the top helpful, so I really, really appreciate that.
Excellent. Very good.
Nice, thanks.
Well, it makes us smile when we can bring back an alumni.
Right.
I'm
So,
And you're not required to stay for the whole meeting. If you'd like to exit, that's okay.
Okay.
but welcome, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, discussion items. First up, we have the May 13th Facility Committee meeting has been canceled. We'll meet on Tuesday, June 10th at 5 p.m. Also need to reschedule the May 22nd Policy Committee meeting. We're looking at Monday, May 19th at 6:30. And does that work for you, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And a reminder that we're going to have a special meeting on Thursday, May 22nd at 4:30 p.m. to accept the results of the annual meeting. I will not be in attendance for that, so we'll have to make sure that we have a quorum.
That's for the budget vote and stuff, correct?
That's for the acceptance of the results, yep.
How long is that meeting?
It's usually a matter of minutes.
Okay.
The record, I believe, is 1 minute and 8 seconds for that meeting.
I just have an event that day at 5:30, so as long as I'll make it for that.
I don't hold that record, so if anyone wants to try to
You'll be out the
reset
door
that.
by 4:35.
Okay.
And again, please let Mrs. Frainer know if you're going to be attending the graduation on Saturday, June 27th. I know I will definitely be there for sure.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I'll be there too.
And finally, under discussion, I'd like to present, in recognition of being on the school board and filling in to Nate Cutting for 1 year of dedicated service on our Board of Ed. Last day will be the 20th at the board vote. He'll be replaced by one of the top vote getters. So thank you for stepping up. I know you came in under going through a new superintendent process to hire a new superintendent, things like that. You asked to step up. We really appreciate your perspective. So thank you. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
We expect that on the wall somewhere too, framed.
I will, yeah.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure too. I appreciate the opportunity to get a different, change of perspective. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a few months, but I've appreciated it.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other discussion items? Do we have any correspondence, Corey?
We do not.
And additions to the agenda?
We do not have any additions tonight. You may have remembered that we had placeholders for our gas and electric bids, but we have moved those out.
Okay, next we're up to the consent agenda. Does anybody want to highlight and or pull anything off the consent agenda for discussion? I'd just like to highlight that the amend the Walton Chamber of Commerce Award has been increased to an annual award of $400 effective immediately, and change the name description from Walton Chamber of Commerce Dick DeMunn Community Service Award in recognition of our past board members. So thank you to whoever facilitated that. That's much appreciated. There's also establishment of scholarship, 2 awards of $100 each given to graduating seniors from the middle school, high school PTSA scholarship award. Those are some of the highlights I had. And Janine Cherniak, teacher due to retirement, is also highlighted as another retirement. Again, piling up retirements here. We're on that phase this year, next year, both. So a lot of great faculty and staff are coming of age to retire, and they're all going to be dearly missed. I'll try to catch them all as I can under this section to highlight them. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Next, we're up to new business and accepting donations. $66 from the Catskill Mountain Antique Engine and Machinery Club to the Walton FFA chapter towards the purchase of FFA jackets. $200 from Sportsfield Specialties to the Peter B. Stanton Jr. Memorial Scholarship, and $1,000 from Gerardo and Christina Siniscalchi to the Speech and Debate Club. A motion to accept those is sincere appreciation.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Next, we have the funding of the school business manager contract 25-26 through 28-29. Any discussion on that?
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion second to approve that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That is carried. Next, we have the funding of the supervisors group 25-26 through 27-28. Any discussion on that?
Make a motion. Second.
Motion second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That is carried. Next, we have the approval of the non-represented contracts, 25 through 26 with 4% increase.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. And now we're up to the creation of a groundsperson position through civil service. This is currently a custodial worker, a temporary.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. Next, we have the approval of the CWC Stormwater Operation and Maintenance Grant Agreement. So this is for the maintenance of our stormwater basins that we have, both vegetative. We're doing them in-house and getting reimbursed. I believe it's a 5-year contract over that period of time. That's nice to be able to use our own staff power to facilitate that and get reimbursed for their time to be able to maintain those. So thank you to CWC for that. I would make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
Just a FYI on that,
Go
this is a thought. I know some of the other districts I'm looking to for the future is they've got it where they'll cover the county to come in with their jet vacuum system and actually clean the DIs and jet all this underground piping from like DI to DI. And they're covered under those operations.
Under those agreements?
Yep, under the CWC agreements.
That's free to the school, right?
Yeah, it's in the agreement that I believe the school gets paid and they put in, or gets billed and they get reimbursed from CWC for the cost of it. So it's not a fee it's not a debt to the school, but it processes through their channels.
Awesome.
Just as something for maintenance going forward.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next, we're up to personnel appointments. So we have Tracy Wood for elementary teacher, Nancy Salgabini, Saglambini, I can't pronounce it. For elementary teacher, Megan Lawrence, music teacher, Dale Cole, art teacher, and Kyle Hoffman for elementary teacher.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion on those? All those in favor of those appointments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. And we are up to supervisor's remarks.
Okay. So this month, we're kind of in the routine months, but we have, John Nolan with transportation, they're finishing up, they'll be, finishing up, trying to stay ahead of the sports trips, and with this current weather, it's not easy. So they're moving things around and just hoping to get things covered. And when the sports trips start adding up with rain events, it starts getting tough with transportation. So hopefully, especially with having the merge, and the assistance of Downsville Transportation in this, we won't have any delays or anything resulting from the transportation. And then we have end of your field trips starting and to be thrown in there as well. So he's got a challenge in front of him the way this weather is, but it's going well. And on Mr. Robinson's end, working on the camera replacements, UPS battery replacements, and then this summer, he mentions in here that we have some major upgrades that are going to be happening here with the Windows upgrades, which happens from time to time. So it's the proactive approach, and they've been doing a real good job of that over the years. We don't have, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx us, but we don't have out of order signs around our school district. Our technology department takes very good care of us. And Mr. Wood, we don't have one for this month. He was out at different trainings and different workshops, so we don't have one for this meeting. But they're doing a good job. We're almost back to full staff with the O&M department. I think we're down to one position that we're working on filling, and which will be very nice. That's been a scramble to stay ahead of things, but it's going very well. Yeah, my end, we're working to get some of the things together. I keep talking about the solar EPC. We'll talk about that in June. At the June meeting, we'll definitely have a facilities meeting. We'll have some information wrapped up in that. Of course, things aren't as easy as can be. Our end of life on our 2 major roofs was that solar would be on 3 major roofs. The 2 gyms in the auditorium will be within 2 years of placing them on it. So that complicates it. But we're looking at what our options are. We'll make sure to present and have that ready for that June meeting. Dan Whalen is now involved from Arcadis as a lead. Montante has been helpful, as you can imagine. You've met them. And we're working through scenarios and concepts, whether it can be a standalone, whether it's more recommended to be as part of a future project, even as an EPC standalone within it. So we'll bring all options to you. So that's been a work in progress. I don't have any updates on capital outlays. We're still where we are, waiting for the material to get on hand. We will get that done at the Townsend Auditorium as far as the sound panels, and then the others. It's in progress. So that's as far as facilities goes. And as far as that goes, it's June. June. It's almost June. It's May, and it gets from here on out. It gets hectic with events. Please take advantage of them if you have an opportunity to go to any of them, and it gets busy all the way around. So hopefully it'll go well from now to the end of the year. That's all I got.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. I did attend